Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to revisit a topic that's pretty close to my heart, and we're going to discuss the Eiseni Complex once more. And you may be asking yourself, why are you addressing this again? I think it's a very important topic, but also I would like to discuss the impact I've had in my local community after sharing this video. Some really good news. First, let's talk about what exactly is the Eiseni Complex. The Eiseni Complex are a group of fishes in the family Xenotoca, and these three species are grouped in a group called the Eiseni Complex. The interesting thing about this is, up until 2016, these fish were considered one species. It was science at 2016, by doing genetic sequencing, realizing that there are actually three species. How did that happen? Well, Eiseni over time isolated in small locations, and over a period of time they developed into a different species. So here's the important part of the Eiseni complex. All of the females look exactly alike. The males, to a trained eye, can sometimes be distinguished, but the only true way to tell the species is through genetic testing. However, relax, there's some people in the CARES program that can identify them without the genetic testing, so that helps a great deal. So the fact that these fish look so similar, we take the risk of hybridizing. And folks, rest assured, there are hybrids being circulated through our communities. The only true way to breed Eiseni Complex and assure that they are a true genetic bloodline is through confirmation. And unless you're going to do genetic testing, the best foolproof way to keep these fish confirmed is by maintaining ESUs and the location data from where they are collected. These are really good tools to use to maintain the genes pure. So I think a lot of people have the misconception with critically endangered fish. A lot of people get the idea that, oh, you just have to breed these fish. That's not necessarily true. So one of the things that we have to be held accountable for is maintaining the true genetic bloodline of these fish as they would be found in nature. So as you can see with the Eiseni Complex, that could be a little difficult at times. So real quick, what happened over the weekend? So I went to spend some time with some of my friends at my local fish club. They were having their big spring auction. And sorry to say, I couldn't stay too long. I ended up having issues with my legs that day, and I was just in a lot of pain. But I got to speak with people for maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. What's the reason I wanted to revisit this? One of my friends from a sister club came up to me and she said, I have some really good news for you. She said, a lot of people in my club saw your video on Eiseni, and we're now taking the steps to realize that we're not going to work with unconfirmed Eiseni Complex. And first thing out of my mouth was, that's great to hear, because I really do feel the only way we're going to stop hybridization of these fish is if people understand we need to keep the genetic makeup of these fish true. So I'm not trying to discredit those who breed aquarium strains of them, but try to understand that if you are not maintaining these fish genetically, you're not helping, you're actually harming. So try to keep an open mind. I will never tell anyone what they should do in their fish room. But the goal of my channel is to share with you the knowledge shared with me that I have learned over the years, and just be factual about it. You can agree or you can disagree, but let it be known, if we don't get a handle on this, especially with the Eiseni Complex, within the next 10 years, these fish will be destroyed in the hobby. and that would be a very unfortunate situation. So let's get started by discussing the species. There's Eiseni, which I apologize, I don't have Eiseni available. There's also doadroi and lion's eye. And I'm going to show you a few videos to show you. And pay attention to the females, and you will see what I am saying, that the females look exactly alike. So this is why it is so important to make sure you have the right fish with the right fish. So you want to keep the same species together, of course. You're going to do that through conformation and through maintaining the ESUs and location data. So let's get started. So it's important to remember that if we cannot confirm where exactly the fish come from, they are an aquarium strain. And I know some people don't find a problem with aquarium strain, but for someone like me who works with the genetics of these fish and maintaining them in the hobby, that's an important thing for me. And with all due respect, if you're not being honest about your bloodline, for instance, if an aquarium strain gets into the genetic groups of these fish, it depletes the bloodline over time. And I really think that's what's happening in the hobby, especially in the United States. But I have also heard people in Canada and a few other countries that are having these same problems. So I would respectfully ask us all to collectively work together to try to resolve this. So when my friend came to me and she said, we've decided we're not going to, those of us that are working in aquarium conservation refuse to work with unconfirmed fish anymore. And that was great news, because let's just be blunt, if people are not purchasing aquarium strains of these fish, eventually there won't be a market for them, and eventually that's how we can combat the hybridization. Again, I'm not talking disrespectfully to people that have aquarium strains. What I would ask you politely is be transparent that they're aquarium strain. Folks like me prefer a true genetic bloodline. I'm working with maintaining genetics, not producing fish. There's a difference. Yeah, I produce fish, but all of the fish I'm working with in my fish room, I can tell you where they came from, when they were collected. That's the kind of information we need. So that's why it's important to find these confirmed bloodlines. Now I'm going to talk to you for a minute, like why people are probably saying, why is it so important to keep the location data in ESUs? I'll explain why. And I'm really excited to share something with you that the CARES program is actually going to be starting, and I think it is a great addition to the program and how we confirm genetic bloodlines. So now let's discuss how we can acquire confirmed fish if we want to work with the genetics of these critically endangered fish. There are some good sources out there, but what I find, organizations that truly focus on aquatic conservation, such as the CARES program and the American Livebearers Association, the Goodeid Working Group, and a few others, these are great resources. So you notice I didn't say clubs. Respectfully, if you really want confirmed fish, now you can sometimes get them because a lot of people will give that information when in the clubs, but it's been my personal experience that a lot of members in clubs that are working with critically endangered fish, at least in my area, are not keeping these ESUs in locations. So once that is lost, they become an aquarium strain. No, again, no disrespect to hobbyists, but that's why it's so important to keep these bloodlines true and keep the ESUs in locations. It's a little bit of information that you keep attached. I put it on my aquarium, whatever, and I have a digital file of it. And then that way you're keeping track of these fish and essentially do your own database. But now let's talk about how you get your fish confirmed. You can go to the CARES website and submit your fish, photo, information, submit it to them, and within a week or so they get back to you whether your bloodline is a confirmed species. Here's where they take it a step further. In order to confirm any of the Eiseni Complex, especially Dowadroi and Lion's Eye, the fish, the ESUs and location information must be supplied and submitted to the CARES program or they cannot effectively confirm them. So for those of you that have Eiseni Complex that want to get them confirmed through CARES, you must have an ESU and you must have location collection information. Once that is set up, here's something new that CARES is starting. So I'm really excited about this, and these folks have worked very hard, and I appreciate what they're doing. So now the beta edition of the website is being put out. Now what's interesting about the beta website is that it holds a database, and they're encouraging the folks that have had their fish confirmed to make entries and set up an account within the database. It's totally your choice if you want your information shared, such as a contact or whatever, but it's a choice. If you choose not to, you can still share your information with CARES privately. So what I like about this is a couple of things. Say if you purchase a species of fish from me that I have confirmed with CARES, I'm giving you guys a digital certificate, but what you can also do is go into the database and see when I've registered it, had it been confirmed, all that. So what it is a confirmation base database of people's information. So someone can't really, if they're saying they're registered in CARES, someone can't say, oh, I registered the fish, and they really didn't. The information will be there. So I like this. This is another way of confirming that what the breeder is giving you, to either shipping to you, whatever, is what it actually is. It's another fail-safe for these genetic bloodlines. So I'm very happy with that. So that's something new. So I wanted to say a little bit more like this is these species, if we don't get a hold, especially Eiseni Complex, I'm going to ask all of the clubs. I think it's great that you want to work in conservation, but with all due respect to everyone involved, from individuals to clubs to organizations, try to grasp that it's not just producing a fish, it's maintaining the true genetic bloodlines of these fish. That's what we need to maintain. And that applies for all critically endangered species, but especially the Eiseni Complex. So I would ask you to reconsider your practices. But then if people are going to work with aquarium strains, that is their choice. But for those who really want to work with conserving the genetics of these fish, you're going to want to ask questions. And don't be afraid to ask them. If a breeder can't answer them, then with all due respect, just move on to the next. But there's a way we can combat hybridization. And I'm really happy to hear that some of you folks that have listened and watched my video are now taking a step in the right direction. Let's keep that momentum going. And when you're discussing this with folks, keep an open mind and try to understand. I get it. Some people don't like to hear that they may be doing something wrong in their fish room. I get it. There's a gentle way to explain this to people and also show them the information out there. There's quality information being submitted to the community that will validate what we've been saying. And in the long run, hopefully we'll be able to maintain what genetic level we have of these fish. So in the end, the reason I'm giving you this video is because it's quite important that we maintain the genetic bloodlines of these fish. So I know a lot of people don't like to hear they may be doing something wrong. But what I would recommend to those of you who want to share this information, always address it respectfully and address it with fact and data. And there's enough information out there that can be shared with people to give them the information. In the end, it's up to each individual. I am by no means telling people you need to do this in your fish room. I think you should have options. But remember, there are also people out there that are now aiming their options at just not working with unconfirmed aquarium strain fish. So that's a choice also. What I would ask is for people to listen with an open mind and make the decision for yourself, because I really feel we can reverse this negative aspect of Eiseni and we can put it in the right direction. The goal of working with critically endangered fish is not just producing numbers of fish, it's about maintaining the genetic bloodline. We can do that. But one of the things I say too is if you like working with aquarium strain, then be very transparent with it. So what I would recommend in the end, educate yourself, go out through and talk to and gather different resources and make the decision for yourself. I would respectfully ask clubs and organizations to reconsider what's important with conservation, and that some of these bloodlines, with all due respect, are being destroyed by the hobby. And if we don't get a hold of it, maybe in a few years, the whole bloodline will fall under aquarium strain. And that would be very unfortunate, because my goal is to maintain the genetics of these bloodlines so that grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and generations can enjoy these fish. But also, there is the possibility that if and when they become extinct in the wild, someone in the hobby may be called upon to submit bloodline of their fish. Some of you may ask yourself, well, what's the end goal of all of this? I can explain. So aquarists like me like to protect the genetic makeup and bloodline of these fish. And why that is important to us is that, yes, we are producing fish, but we're maintaining the genetic bloodline so that they continue to exist in the future. So let's say maybe a few years down the line, a research team comes to realize that one of the Eiseni complex is now completely extinct in the wild. What could happen then? Well, if we're maintaining healthy genetic bloodlines of these fish in the hobby, some hobbyists may be picked to work with labs on developing fish in the labs from their bloodlines that can eventually be reintroduced back into the wild. This has already happened with Zoogeneticus tequila and Scyphia francese. So why not could it not happen with other species? And what would happen if Doadroi became extinct in the wild, and through testing we find that what hobbyists have done have hybridized all of these fish and now they cannot be reintroduced back? That would be really sad. So that's the importance of maintaining true bloodlines. And as I've said, it's your decision to make. I would just hope that you would all be very transparent with what you're producing, and let's just treat each other respectfully and share knowledge. And I want you to know it means so much that you guys are, some of you are taking to heart what I'm saying. And I don't say you have to believe everything I say. What I'm asking you to do is use my videos as a tool and do the research for yourself, because everything I'm telling you can be substantiated through scientific data. This is not conjecture. It's not my opinion. It's genetics. And there's information out there, and there's great resources to find the true answers you want. So I want to thank all of you for being here. Just wanted to give you a quick update on what I'm going to be working on in the near future. So I'm assisting the CARES program with their new database and beta website. Very happy and proud that I was to help. I was asked to help do the descriptions for goodeid, and I'm real excited about that. A little bit of husbandry things. So it will be a resource for husbandry and confirming bloodlines. And like I've said, with this database, if anyone has any of my fish and you have my digital copy of my confirmation of the fish, you can go right onto the website and confirm those bloodlines. So this is a really good program. This is going to really pull together the work that breeders, hobbyists, and zoos are doing now to work collectively, and it's a great database. Still under construction, but it's functional right now. We're just getting the narratives in and the updates. Also, I plan on doing a video in the near future and I've got the perfect name for it. It's called Whose Bloodline Is It Anyway? And it talks about how selective breeding in fish and maintaining bloodlines, how they change as they come into our fish room. So be sure to watch that one. That will be a good one. So I want to thank all of you for stopping by. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. So in closing, I would like to say this. The Eiseni complex of fishes are beautiful fish and very popular in our hobby. And know that there are groups of people that can assist you with these fish, and there are programs such as CARES, and be mindful that they require the ESUs and the collection data, and that is to ensure that they are not being hybridized and that we have what locale going with the same species. It's very important for conservation. CARES is happy to help. If any of you have questions, I'm happy to help. So in the end, it's just you're either going to choose to work with the genetic quality of the fish, or you're going to work with aquarium strain. In the end, the choice is yours, but please understand, whatever choice you make can determine the history and the future of these fish. Have a good day.